Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we are absolutely diving into the deep end of a monumental moment in Indian state politics. So picture this. It's the birth anniversary of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. We're at Kolkata's iconic Brigade Parade Ground. The crowds are huge, and under the watchful eyes of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah, a massive swearing-in ceremony has just taken place. What we are looking at here is literally the dawn of a completely new political era in West Bengal. And understanding exactly how this happened, and more importantly, who is now leading the charge, gives us some absolutely vital context for the future of our national democratic landscape.
Which really brings us to the central question driving our explainer today. What does Bengal's new government actually look like? Because when a political tectonic shift of this sheer magnitude happens, the real story isn't just the victory itself, right? It's in the faces, it's in the strategies, it's in the demographic maps that the incoming administration is drawing up. So we're going to zoom right in on the specific individuals who have just been handed the reins of power, and we'll break down the strategic messaging behind their brand new appointments.
But first, to really grasp the gravity of this moment, we have to talk about the number 15. 15 years. That is exactly how long the All India Trinamool Congress, led by Mamata Banerjee, ruled West Bengal. And remember, before that, the Left Front held power there for decades. So what we are witnessing right now is the definitive end of that 15-year TMC era. It's a profound historic shift. For the very first time in the state's entire history, the Bharatiya Janata Party has formed the government.
Okay, let's quickly map out our roadmap for today. 1. A historic political shift. 2. The new chief minister. 3. The diverse cabinet faces. 4. The Eastern expansion strategy. And 5. Immediate priorities and policies.
Let's jump right into Section 1, a historic political shift. We are looking at a really stark transition of executive power here. On one side, you have the outgoing administration, Mamata Banerjee's TMC, which had governed the state since 2011. On the other side, the incoming administration, led by Suvendu Adhikari. By securing 206 out of the 294 seats in the state legislative assembly, the BJP has established its first-ever state government in Bengal. This makes Adhikari the 9th chief minister in the state's history. It is a fundamental, top-to-bottom rewiring of the executive branch in Kolkata, and it's going to directly affect everything from local governance all the way up to national economic policies.
Moving on to Section 2, the new chief minister. Who exactly is Suvendu Adhikari, and how did he get to the top spot?
Well, his political trajectory is honestly one of a kind. Adhikari wasn't always leading the opposition. Actually, scratch that. He used to be a very close aide to Mamata Banerjee. He even served as her Minister of Transport back in 2016 and was super instrumental in the TMC's original rise to power. But after some surface differences, he resigned and jumped over to the BJP in December 2020. Then, in the 2021 elections, he narrowly defeated his former leader in the intensely contested Nandigram seat. Fast forward to the 2026 elections, and Adhikari contested and won by massive margins in both Nandigram and Bhabanapur. That absolutely solidified his mandate to lead the state.
So, the big question is, how does he actually plan to govern? Well, according to his own statements right after the swearing-in, Adhikari said he intends to run the state administration based on collective leadership. So, rather than centralizing all the power at the top, or just shifting all decisions onto a few cabinet members, he's signaling a very collaborative, team-based approach to running the government.
Which brings us to Section 3, the diverse cabinet faces. And let me tell you, looking at the demographic mapping of this new A-team gives us a massive window into their future strategy.
Now here's a really interesting detail. Out of a constitutional maximum of 44 ministers in the West Bengal cabinet, only 6 leaders have taken the oath so far, and that includes the chief minister. That leaves 38 completely open spots for future expansion. But make no mistake, this initial tight-knit group of 5 cabinet ministers was not chosen at random, not at all. They provide some very critical clues about the specific demographic and geographic bases this new administration is determined to secure.
First up, we have Agnimitra Paul. She is a 51-year-old, 2-time MLA from Asansol Dakshin, who just retained her seat by a really comfortable margin of over 40,000 votes. And notably, she is currently the sole woman in the cabinet. Her background is fascinating. Before getting into politics in 2019, she had a hugely successful career in Kolkata's fashion circuit. She ran her own label called Inga, and even designed outfits for Bollywood icons like Sridevi and Hema Malini, using traditional Kantha embroidery.
Now, just to remain totally impartial and look at the official election affidavits, it's worth noting she does have 23 pending criminal cases related to allegations of unlawful assembly and protests. However, she hasn't been convicted in any of them. The party has really positioned her as their key grassroots mobilizer for women's empowerment.
Now, in sharp contrast to that high-profile Bollywood background, we have Kushudiram Tudu. He's a 55-year-old, first-time MLA who won the Randy Band scheduled tribe seat in the Bankura district by a huge margin of more than 52,000 votes. He's a graduate, declared around 23 lakh rupees in assets, and stands out as a very low-profile leader with absolutely zero criminal cases registered against him.
Now, what's really interesting about Tudu is why he got such a rapid elevation to the cabinet. It all comes down to his constituency, Jangal Mahal. This is a heavily forested, tribal-dominated belt over in Western Bengal. Elevating him is a brilliant strategic move. It directly rewards a region where the party has made deep grassroots inroads by focusing heavily on welfare delivery and tribal identity. It basically ensures that Western Bengal's tribal communities have a direct voice right at the highest level of the state government.
Next, let's map out the geographic influence of Nisith Pramanik and Ashok Kirtania. Pramanik is a prominent 35-year-old leader from North Bengal, and get this, he's a former Union Minister of State for Home Affairs. He brings a ton of youth appeal and locks down the vital Rajbanshi community base up north. Meanwhile, you've got Ashok Kirtania representing Bangan Uttar down in the North 24 Parganas district, an area heavily influenced by the Matua community. So together, these two are strategically securing crucial demographic support from both the extreme northern and southern borders of the state.
Finally, rounding out our profile of the new cabinet faces is Dilip Ghosh. As a former RSS Pracharak, a former state party chief, and a former member of parliament from Medinipur, Ghosh is a veteran. He has played an undeniable foundational role in methodically building up the party's grassroots network in Bengal since 2014. His presence in the cabinet really anchors this new government with some deep, battle-tested organizational experience.
Let's zoom out a bit for Section 4, the Eastern Expansion Strategy. How does this one-state victory fit into a much larger geopolitical puzzle?
Well, political analysts have been talking about this exact strategy for a decade. It's the long-term goal of winning the Anga-Banga-Kalinga belt. So historically, Anga corresponds to modern-day Bihar, where the ruling NDA alliance just recently retained power. Kalinga is Odisha, which they won decisively in 2024. And now with Banga, West Bengal, secured in 2026, this massive eastern footprint strategy is officially complete. This isn't just an isolated win. It is the culmination of a 10-year push to completely reshape the political geography of eastern India.
Which leads us to our final section, Part 5, Immediate Priorities and Policies. Now that they actually hold the reins, what is this government going to do on day one? Based on their official election manifesto, they've laid out a very clear 5-point agenda. First, fast-tracking the Citizenship Amendment Act, specifically to help eligible groups like the Matua community. Second, a complete top-down overhaul of state law and order. Third, they want major reforms in state employment and public recruitment to tackle the ongoing job crises. Fourth, launching anti-corruption probes into the previous administration. And fifth, pushing hard for an industrial revival to bring private investment back into the state. This is their blueprint for the next few months.
And you know what? We are already seeing instant policy impacts, especially when it comes to state-center relations. Literally the moment the new government took over, the Union Jal Shakti Ministry unlocked 2,700 crore rupees for the Central Jal Jeevan Mission project in Bengal. That is a massive sum of money that had been totally stalled for 2 years, simply because the previous state government was reluctant to sign the Memorandum of Understanding. Releasing these funds immediately signals a very rapid, synchronized shift between Kolkata and New Delhi. Which leaves us with this final overarching thought. As this new guard settles into power in Calcutta, a truly historic political shift has been cemented. But with that Anga-Banga-Kalinga map now completely drawn in, how will this newly consolidated Eastern powerhouse reshape national politics in the years to come? The demographic pieces are perfectly in place, the policies are queued up, and honestly, the entire nation is watching to see what happens next. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.